I stood alone by my mother's hospital bed as she passed, while other rooms were filled with supportive families. My wife and friends never showed. No calls of concern, no shared tears, not even a fake apology for their absence. But just as the doctor pronounced the time, a nurse handed me a sealed letter from my mother, and that's when everything began to unravel. The envelope trembled in my hand like it held a truth too dangerous to read in daylight. My mother's writing, elegant, slanted, unmistakable, was on the front. I didn't even open it. Not then. I just held it and stared, numb. You ever feel the world tilt without moving? That was me in that room. My hands cold. My jaw clenched. My mom, my only blood left, gone. And no one around me. Not my so-called friends. Not even my wife, Amanda. The same Amanda who once cried with me when we buried my dog. The same Amanda who promised to be there no matter what. The Amanda who, in the end, couldn't even fake care when my mother died. But I didn't cry. Not yet. Something darker started bubbling inside. An itch behind my ribs. A pulse in my temple. Something was off, not just today. Something was rotten. The funeral came 3 days later. Amanda didn't show up. Said she was feeling sick. She texted it like she was canceling a dinner reservation. I stood at the edge of the cemetery, the wind tugging my coat, while the priest mumbled through words I didn't hear. I stared at that coffin, and I remembered every night Mom called me these past few months, whispering something wasn't right. That Amanda wasn't who I thought she was. Don't let charm blind you, Nathan, she'd say. Some people are shadows wearing smiles. That night, I finally opened the letter. It started simply. If you're reading this, I'm gone. And now it's your turn to open your eyes. I kept the secret from you because I hoped I was wrong. But you need to see what I found. Taped inside was a key. A small brass thing, cold and sharp. I stared at it for 10 minutes before I realized what it was for. Mom's old safety deposit box. The one she hadn't mentioned in over a year. The next morning, I drove to the bank she used. Walked in looking like a ghost and told them my name. 5 minutes later, they handed me a small box. Inside were 3 things, a flash drive, a photo, and a printed receipt. The photo hit first. Amanda, my wife, sitting on a lap. His lap. Smiling, lips on his neck, her hand, deep in his lap like she owned it. The guy? Jason. My so-called best friend. The one who didn't make it to the funeral because he was out of state. The receipt? A hotel bill. Multiple dates. All recent. Paid with my credit card. The flash drive? I didn't even need to open it. I knew what it was. Mom didn't just leave me a goodbye. She left me the truth I'd been too blind to see. When I got home, Amanda was in the kitchen, wearing one of my mom's old silk scarves, the one I'd asked her not to touch. I asked, "Were you really sick the day of the funeral?" She didn't look up, just stirred her tea and said, "I told you I had a migraine." My voice cracked like thunder. "Then tell me why you were at the Emerson Hotel with Jason that night?" The spoon dropped into the cup. Her hand froze. But she didn't look surprised. Just annoyed. Like I'd caught her borrowing my car without asking. "You went through my things," she said. "You cheated on me, Amanda." She leaned against the counter, crossed her arms, and actually smirked. "Please, Nathan. You think I was going to sit around wiping your tears while you drowned in grief every night?" I needed attention. Jason gave it to me. I didn't hit her. I didn't yell. I just stood there, staring at the woman I used to love, realizing she was never mine to begin with. "You're disgusting," I whispered. She laughed. Laughed. "You think this is bad? You should check the drive." Mom was old, but she knew how to dig. And just like that, she walked away, up the stairs, humming. That's when I knew this wasn't just betrayal. This was war. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I couldn't, because I wouldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smile. That smug, soulless grin. I sat in the dark with the flash drive in my hand like it was a live wire. At 3:14 a.m., I finally plugged it in. The folder was named for Nathan. Inside, audio files, screenshots, videos. My mother had been collecting, watching, listening. How long had she known? The first file was a screen recording from her tablet. It showed Amanda's text to Jason. "Amanda," he cried again. Like a little boy. "You'd think his mom died every week." Jason, LOL. That's pathetic. "Amanda," I fake gagged just to get out of hugging him. Ugh. Weak men make my skin crawl. I sat back in my chair. My stomach turned like it had swallowed acid. My grief, my pain, it was entertainment for them. I opened another file. It was a video. Grainy security footage, but clear enough. Amanda and Jason. Hotel elevator. his hand up her dress, her kissing his ear. She was laughing, and she was wearing the necklace I gave her for our 5th anniversary. I skipped ahead. Another video, this time audio only. My mom had recorded a phone call. Amanda, he's gonna crack soon. After the funeral, I'll start pushing him to sell the house. Then we split the cash, you and me, babe. Jason, and the company? Amanda, don't worry. I'll get it signed over. He trusts me more than his lawyer. I shut the laptop and stared at the wall. I think I stopped breathing for a minute. Not because of what she did, but because of what I had planned for us. I was going to surprise her with a vacation. I had savings tucked away for a new house. A baby was even something we had started talking about. She never wanted a child. She wanted control. At 6 a.m., I stood outside in the cold, watching the sunrise, trying to make sense of the chaos. And that's when my phone buzzed. A new message from Amanda. Amanda, do we have any milk left? Also, I might invite Jason over later. We need to talk. You'll be okay with that, right? She didn't even try to hide it anymore. When she came downstairs around 9, wearing my hoodie, I looked at her like she was something I'd scraped off my shoe. Jason's coming over? I asked flatly. She yawned. Yeah, we need to sort things out. Sort what out? She shrugged. He wants more than just fooling around. He's serious about me. I let the silence stretch until she finally looked at me. Are you okay, Nathan? I buried my mother alone. You weren't there. Neither was he. She didn't flinch. Just said, you're too emotional. That's why I stopped feeling anything for you. I leaned in close. Do you know how many people I've buried in my life, Amanda? None of them ever tried to kill me while they were still breathing. She blinked. What the hell does that mean? It means you're done playing this game in my house. She laughed again. That same high-pitched, mocking cackle. Your house? Oh, sweetheart, half of this is mine. And soon, the other half will be too. She had no idea. My mom had already put everything in a trust. My house. My business. She knew Amanda was circling like a vulture. And now Amanda was about to find out just how cold I could be. I walked past her, went upstairs, and grabbed the printed photos from the deposit box. Taped them to the fridge one by one. Her with Jason. Her messages. Her lies. Every filthy secret out in the open. 10 minutes later, Jason knocked on the door. I opened it. Hey, man, he said, trying to act casual. I stepped aside. She's in the kitchen. He walked in and stopped. Amanda was frozen in front of the fridge. Mouth open. Eyes wide. Jason looked at the photos. Then looked at me. You psycho. I smiled. Takes one to know one. Amanda turned, fury in her eyes. You did this. No, Amanda, I said, stepping forward. My mother did. And in that moment, the ghost of my mom was the loudest voice in the room. Amanda's eyes darted from photo to photo like she was trying to make sense of a foreign language. Jason backed away from the fridge as if the evidence could burn him. But it already had. Every lie was nailed up there, one after another. I didn't need to yell. The silence was punishment enough. You think this means something? Amanda snapped, her voice rising. You think this little tantrum scares me? I stepped closer. Calm. Cold. No, I said. But the copies sent to my lawyer? Maybe those will. Jason turned to her, suddenly pale. Wait, he has a lawyer involved? She didn't respond. Her lips pressed together in a thin, guilty line. You dragged me into this. Jason growled. You were into this. She fired back. You begged for this. Their argument exploded like gasoline over fire. They forgot I was even in the room, two jackhauls turning on each other when the scraps ran dry. Amanda threw a glass. It shattered. Jason shoved a chair. I watched. It felt strange, standing there in my own home, listening to my wife scream at my former best friend like they were the betrayed ones. Like I had ruined their lives. I walked over to the table and calmly placed 2 envelopes on it. What's that? Amanda spat. Your eviction notice. And Jason? That one's for you. Jason walked over and grabbed his, flipping it open. What the hell is this? It's a restraining order. You'll be out of the neighborhood before sundown, or you'll be spending the night in a cell. You're bluffing. Amanda shouted. I didn't flinch. Try me. She stormed toward me, furious. You don't get to do this, Nathan. You're weak. You cry. You break. You don't fight back. That was the old me. I locked eyes with her. The one who thought you were worth saving. Jason was already backing toward the door. I didn't sign up for this. Shut up, she barked. You're just a pathetic side toy who couldn't even keep it together. I almost laughed. Jason looked like a deer in headlights. She turned to me again. You want revenge? Fine. I'll leave. But you'll regret this. I'll ruin you in court, Nathan. You think your mommy's little savings will protect you? I didn't blink. That was just the beginning. She left me more than money. She left me everything you don't have: integrity, strength, and a name you can't stain. Amanda scoffed and stormed out, heels stopping like gunshots across the floor. Jason followed after a moment, avoiding my eyes. The door slammed. Silence again. I stood in the wreckage of my own kitchen, glass on the floor, broken dreams on the fridge, and somehow I felt calm. My phone buzzed. It was from the nurse at the hospital. She sent me a photo, one of my mother, smiling. In her hand, the same envelope she gave me. Below it, the message read, "She said you'd need this. She believed in you more than anyone else ever could." That was the first time in weeks I let the tears fall. But this time, they weren't for Amanda. They weren't even for Jason. They were for the woman who saved me from the fire by handing me the match. And it wasn't over yet. The house felt like a crime scene. Not because of what happened, but because of everything that had almost happened. I spent the next hour cleaning up the shards of glass, tossing Amanda's leftover garbage into trash bags. Every item she touched seemed poison now. The scarf, the wine glass, the mug she used that morning. I threw them all out. By noon, I was sitting on the couch, staring at the photos on the fridge one last time. Then I pulled them down, not because I wanted to forget, but because I didn't need the reminder anymore. I had the truth now, and I had plans. I started with the bank. I froze every joint account. Then I had my lawyer file a temporary injunction to halt any financial move she might try to make. Amanda always prided herself on being clever, but she underestimated what desperation can teach a man. That evening, I visited my mother's grave. The sky was dark. The grass was damp. And still, I sat there on the cold stone bench for nearly an hour, just breathing. "I thought I was building a life, Mom," I whispered. Turns out I was building a stage for betrayal. A breeze picked up. It didn't answer me, but it felt like something was listening. On the drive back, I passed Jason's gym. I nearly kept going, but then I saw his car, parked sloppily out front like he was too rushed or too cocky to care. I pulled into a spot across the street and just stared at it. A week ago, I would have stormed in and punched him. But that wasn't who I was anymore. Rage is easy. Strategy lasts longer. The next morning, I made my first move. Amanda got served with the formal divorce papers while she was at brunch with her sister. I didn't just file. I requested a court order for immediate inventory of all joint assets and a forensic accounting of her personal spending. I wanted her exposed, documented, and stripped of every financial foothold she'd planned to use. By noon, her lawyer called mine, desperate for a meeting. That same day, I posted a simple message on social media, a picture of my mother's old locket with the caption, "Some things are worth protecting. Some people are not." I didn't name names. I didn't need to. The comments flooded in. People guessed. People speculated. And Amanda? She lost her mind. She messaged me nonstop, trying to spin it, trying to threaten, then beg. I didn't respond. Silence became my favorite form of revenge. 2 days later, I was walking into my office when my assistant, Lindsay, gave me a strange look. "Hey, I don't know how to say this politely, but..." Amanda showed up. I froze. "Here." She nodded. "She's waiting in the conference room. With her lawyer. Says it's urgent." I walked in expecting venom. Instead, I got desperation. Amanda looked pale. Worn down. No makeup. Wrinkled dress. She stood up when I walked in. "Nathan," she started, like we were still married. "Still normal. I think we both made some mistakes." I didn't sit. "You think this is a discussion?" Her lawyer cleared his throat. "Mr. Hayes, my client would like to..." "Save it." I cut in. "You're not here to negotiate. You're here to listen." Amanda blinked, confused. "You're going to sign over your claim to the house. You're going to drop any attempt at alimony. And you're going to walk away with what little dignity you still have." Her mouth dropped. "You can't be serious." "I have everything I need, Amanda. Videos, messages, voice recordings. And oh, one more thing." I pulled out a printed transcript of a message she left on Jason's voicemail. "He's almost broken. Just a little more, and we take everything." Her lawyer turned to her slowly. "You didn't tell me about this." Amanda's face drained of color. "Nathan, please. We can fix this." I shook my head. "No, you can't fix anything. But you can vanish. Quietly." I left the room before she could answer. I didn't need to hear her excuses. I'd already spent years drowning in them. I was done, and she knew it. 2 weeks passed. No word from Amanda. Not a call, not a message. Nothing. Jason, on the other hand, made the mistake of trying to reach out. 3 texts, 2 emails, and finally, one pathetic voicemail at 2 a.m., slurred, half apologetic, half defensive. I didn't mean for it to get that far, man. She told me you didn't love her anymore. Said you were just dead inside. Dead inside. I saved that voicemail. Not for evidence, for reminder. That's how they saw me. A weak, grieving man. Easy to manipulate. Disposable. But what they didn't know, and what my mother knew, was that I'd been sharpening in silence. Every betrayal, every moment alone in that hospital room, every word Amanda whispered in Jason's ear while I buried my only parent, it was fuel. By now, the divorce filings were moving faster than expected. Amanda didn't contest anything. Her lawyer, probably sensing how bad this could get for her if I went public, pushed her to accept the terms. No alimony. No claim to the house. No cut of the business. But I wasn't done. I had one more card to play. See, Mom left me not just a trust, she left me journal entries. Her last 6 months. She'd written down everything. The nights Amanda came home late. The times Jason's car was parked 2 streets over. She saw everything. And she wrote it all down, like she knew I'd need it when the lies got too heavy to lift on my own. So I made a decision. I launched something new. A foundation in my mother's name. It supported people who had been betrayed by their partners, especially in moments of vulnerability, during grief, loss, trauma. I called it the Marlene Project. Within days of launch, the story spread. My post went viral. People connected the dots. Amanda's silence wasn't just legal strategy, it was shame. Jason shut down his gym's Instagram. Clients dropped him. People talked. I never named them. Never said a word directly. I didn't need to. Truth, when sharp enough, cuts even without a swing. One evening, I got a knock at my door. I almost didn't answer it. But something told me I already knew who it was. Amanda stood there. No makeup. Jeans, hoodie, a backpack slung over one shoulder. She looked ordinary. The performance was over. I just want 5 minutes, she said. I stepped aside. She sat at the kitchen table, the same spot where she once mocked me for crying about my mom. She didn't touch the chair with the scratch in it, the one she and Jason broke during one of their secret game nights. I lost everything, she started. No, I said. You gave it away. She nodded slowly. I didn't come to argue. I came to say. I don't even know if sorry is the right word. I watched her. I thought I wanted power. Control. Jason made me feel wanted. You were grieving. Absent. And I was selfish. She looked up at me. But I never thought you'd fight back like this. That almost made me laugh. I didn't fight back, I said. I let you hang yourself. All I did was stop pretending I deserved what you gave me. Tears welled in her eyes. You were a good man, Nathan. Too good. I never should have been part of your story. She stood up. I didn't. You don't need to forgive me, she added. Just. I needed to say it. As she turned to go, I said one last thing. My mother pitied you. She froze. She said you were a shadow wearing a smile. And she hoped you'd leave before I forgot what real light felt like. Amanda said nothing. Just walked out. And that door? I didn't close it gently. I locked it. The next morning felt different. Not because the air had changed or the sun was brighter, but because the noise was finally gone. That low, constant hum of tension I'd grown used to over the last year, it had vanished. And in its place, there was quiet. Not peace. Not yet. But quiet. I took a long shower, the kind where you don't think about time. I let the water hit my face until my skin wrinkled and my thoughts softened. For the first time in what felt like forever, I wasn't replaying arguments in my head. I wasn't rehearsing what I should have said. I wasn't planning revenge. I was just there. By noon, I went to the office. Lindsay met me at the door with a half smile. You look like you slept, she said, handing me my coffee. First time in weeks, I admitted. We had a short meeting about the foundation. Donations were already flowing in. Messages poured in from strangers, men, women, people who had felt discarded during grief, manipulated by someone they loved while their world was falling apart. It made every dark hour worth it. But as I sat in my office going through the emails, one stood out. No subject line. No sender name. Just a short sentence. You don't know the whole story. There was an attachment. At first, I thought it was a joke. Spam. Maybe Amanda or Jason trying to stir up something. But curiosity is a stubborn thing. I clicked it. It was a video. Surveillance footage from a nursing home hallway. Grainy, black and white. Dated 3 weeks before my mother passed. Amanda was there, standing outside my mother's room, crying. Real tears. She didn't see the camera, or didn't care. She was talking, but there was no sound. Just her pacing, hands in her hair. Then, Jason walked into frame. He grabbed her arm, pulled her away. She resisted, shouted something. He dragged her down the hallway. The clip ended there. My chest tightened. It didn't make sense. Why would Amanda visit my mom, alone? Why was she crying? I called the number attached to the email. A nurse picked up. Hi, I'm calling about an email sent to me this morning. Surveillance footage. Nathan Hayes. Yes. I was instructed to share that with you if anything happened to the woman in room 309. My mother. She asked us to document that moment. She said you'd understand later. She left another letter. I didn't send it earlier because, well, it felt too personal. My throat dried. Can you send it now? Minutes later, another email arrived. Another envelope, scanned this time. My mother's handwriting again. Amanda made mistakes, but she came to say goodbye. She cried for you, not herself. Jason pulled her back, and before she could break free, I saw her tears. I saw her try. You'll do what you must, but I needed you to know there was a moment, Nathan, when she chose you, and someone else took that from her. I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding like a hammer against steel. That letter didn't undo the pain. It didn't excuse the betrayal, but it shook something loose inside me, the simple, dangerous idea that things were not as black and white as I had believed. I didn't call Amanda. I didn't reply to the nurse. But that night, I poured 2 glasses of bourbon, one for me, and one for the woman who, even from the grave, still found ways to change the direction of my life. And I wondered, what would I have done if Jason hadn't stopped her? Would everything have been different? Or would I still be sitting here, alone? The next few days were a fog. Not like the suffocating fog of betrayal, this one was different. A kind of mental static, like standing between 2 radio stations, catching fragments of 2 conflicting truths and not knowing which one to believe. I couldn't shake the image from that video. Amanda crying, pushing Jason away. It didn't fit with the woman who mocked my grief or signed her name so easily on those hotel bills. But people are never just one thing, are they? She was cruel. That was real. But maybe she was also trapped. Still, knowing she tried to say goodbye to my mother, that she cried for me, wasn't enough to untie the knots she'd left in my chest. It just made them tighter. And then came the phone call. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me I should. It was Amanda's sister, Lauren. Don't hang up, she said immediately. I'm not calling for her. I stayed silent. She's not well, Lauren continued. She's staying with me now. And she hasn't spoken to anyone in 3 days. Barely eats. Barely moves. I could hear traffic in the background. She was outside, pacing, nervous. She told me everything, Nathan. About Jason. About what she planned. What she almost did. Why are you telling me this? I asked coldly. Because I think you deserve the truth, and because you were the only person who ever gave a damn about her. Even when she didn't deserve it. That last part landed harder than I wanted it to. She was going to leave him, Lauren added. Before your mom died. She was done. That day she showed up at the hospital, she didn't just cry. She asked your mother how to fix it. She was ready to confess everything. She didn't, I said flatly. I know, she whispered. Because Jason showed up. She was scared. Not of losing you. Of what he would do if she walked away. You don't know the whole story. I wanted to hang up. I should have. But I didn't. I'm not asking you to forgive her, Nathan. I just thought you should hear it from someone who isn't trying to manipulate you. I sat there after the call ended, staring at nothing. It would have been easier if Amanda had just been a monster. But now, I saw cracks in the mask. And maybe that was worse. Because now I had to question everything, even my anger. That night, I drove. Nowhere in particular. I passed places that used to mean something. The restaurant where I proposed. The park bench where we sat the night her dad died. The bridge we crossed during the storm, when we thought we were invincible. All of it haunted. And yet, all of it mine. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. Not from the road, from the wait. But before I could even get out of the car, my phone buzzed again. Another email. Subject, final statement, Amanda Hayes. I froze. Opened it. Inside was a letter. Long handwritten. Scanned. She must have sent it to her lawyer. A last word. Or maybe a confession. She wrote about how she met Jason. How the attention felt like oxygen at a time when our marriage felt cold. How she justified every small betrayal as just for now until it wasn't small anymore. She admitted she went too far, that she became someone she didn't recognize, someone she hated. But then she wrote something that stopped me cold. I waited too long to be honest, and by the time I was ready, Jason made sure I couldn't. I was scared of him. I was scared of what he'd say, what he'd do. But that doesn't make what I did to you any better. I broke something I can't fix. I know you'll never love me again. I wouldn't, if I were you. I just wanted you to know I did love you. At least once. And maybe still do. But I'm walking away now for good. You deserve peace. And I'll never be part of it again. I stared at that screen for a long time. Then I hit delete. Not out of hate, but because I didn't need the letter. She was already gone. A month passed. The air got colder, the leaves darker. Fall has a way of matching grief. Both come slow, then all at once. But unlike grief, fall ends. Eventually. The house was quiet now. Peacefully quiet. No slammed doors. No fake laughter through clenched teeth. Just me. Just the rhythm of a man learning how to breathe again. I had my coffee on the porch every morning. Read the paper like some old man. Not because I cared about the headlines, but because it was something steady. Something that didn't lie. The foundation, the Marlene Project, grew faster than I expected. Emails from people around the world. Men who'd been discarded during their lowest moments. Women, too. Parents. People who trusted the wrong soul while mourning the right one. They found something in the story. Not in Amanda. Not in Jason. In the silence I survived. I never replied to Amanda's letter. I didn't need to. Some things don't require closure. Just distance. Jason disappeared. Deleted his accounts. Moved to another city, from what I heard. Good. Let him start over somewhere else, far from the shadows he helped create. As for Amanda, I don't know where she went. Lauren said she checked herself into therapy. Said she's not dating, not working. Just reflecting. I don't hate her anymore. But I don't forgive her either. Forgiveness is a gift I don't owe. Healing doesn't require her repentance. It only required truth, and I got that the moment I opened the letter from my mother in that cold, sterile hospital room. That envelope didn't just expose a lie. It saved my life. People always say grief shows you who your real friends are. I'd go further. It shows you who you are. When the world forgets you, when the people closest to you vanish into thin air, what's left is raw, real, and sometimes brutal. But what you build from that, that's yours forever. Now I wake up before the sun. I run. I breathe deeper. I smile when no one's looking. I rebuilt the guest room into a small library. I found joy in the silence. And sometimes, just sometimes, I think of Amanda. Not with rage. Not even with sorrow. Just a kind of quiet recognition. She was a storm. And I stood in the middle of her for too long. But storms pass. And I'm still standing. So if you're reading this, whoever you are, and you're in your own storm, I'll tell you this. Let it hurt. Let it rip through you. But when it ends, don't go looking for what broke you. Build something better. Then lock the door behind you. And never, ever let that chaos back in.